Hey everybody, John Hickey here in the home office on a rainy, gloomy morning, and just want to speak to you quickly about the ransomware attacks that you've been hearing about on the news. We have recently heard of the New York City MTA, the JBS Meat Processing Company, the Massachusetts Ferry Company, and the Colonial Oil Pipeline, all receiving some level of ransomware attacks that cripple their business or cause massive problems for their business. We've only been hearing about this on the news recently. However, this has been going on in businesses for years. And businesses like ours are all a target for ransomware attackers. The reason why we're a target is because most of us have simple IT infrastructures and we also have the money that we can afford to pay a ransom to make them go away. A few things that you can do to keep your company safe from ransomwares quickly and cheaply is number one, update your software and firmware. Software like one of the breaches happened because of an application called Pulse Connect, and Pulse Connect published a vulnerability that they knew about. They published a patch for it, and this company did not make the update to their software. So it was not a matter of laziness or just a matter of not paying attention and not having a process to go through and keep all the software updated, and it resulted in them getting hacked. The other one is email server security. There was a Microsoft problem recently with email that caused companies to get ransomware hacks and throughout their network. What you can do is keep all of your software, all of your operating systems, the firmware on your firewalls up to date. The second thing you can do is enable multi-factor authentication everywhere. Multi-factor authentication, you've done it many times with different applications you already work with. Just now make sure that your multi-factor is on every financial application you have, as well as your email, primarily your email. And multi-factor authentication is when you enter your password and then you also receive a text message that your password is on your phone. You'll get a code that you enter, either into your phone or through an authorization application. Ways that my company can help you if you feel like you need help. Number one, migrate your Office 365 tenant to us. Office 365 does not come natively secured. You can do a lot of things to update your Office 365 settings to protect your admin accounts and protect your user accounts as well as your data. But currently, we see Office 365 as number one way that hackers get into your system is by triggering your team and targeting them with some level of emotion that forces them to click on a link, put in their password, and then they lose it, giving access to the hackers. So, number one, you can migrate your Office 365 tenant to Tech2Success, no charge, same cost that you're paying currently to Microsoft or whomever else, but we can get it for you, manage it securely. The second thing is if you've got firewalls in your organization that are out of date, so if your firewall hasn't been replaced in 3 years or more, let's have a conversation about replacing your firewalls with new secure firewalls. And also, let's make sure that those firewalls are up to date and that their software and firmware is completely updated as often as possible. Next, you can move your servers to the cloud. If you have an office that has a server in it, it's time to get that server out of your office into the cloud, regardless of what application you're using. And that doesn't mean that you have to migrate to a web-based application. All it means is that that server should be sitting somewhere in a secure data center environment managed by a professional team. We can help you move your servers to the cloud, whether you bought them last year or 10 years ago or longer than that. Let's talk about what that should do to make that happen. And then lastly, you need to implement a secure backup. And your backup cannot be on the same server that your operating systems are, because when you do get hacked, you'll lose your backup as well as your systems. It shouldn't even be on the same network. It should be completely separated So if you have not tested your backup recently, test it, make sure that it's working well so that if, God forbid, you do have to go through something like this, you have a good backup that you can restore. And if you are uncertain of how to do that, contact us. We use an application called Veeam, and Veeam can do backup for your Office 365 files, which are not natively backed up, and for all of your other file shares and application systems. So, bottom line, pay attention to these ransomware attacks. They're coming after your company. Make sure all of your devices are updated. Make sure your emails have multi-factor authentication applied to them. Get everything, software, Windows updates, all done. On our team, we have a guy whose full-time job it is just to monitor and update all of these systems and make sure everything is up to date. And if you have any questions or concerns, no charge to chat with us about it. Head to tech2success.com and let's set up a time to talk about making sure that your company is secure.